This video is going to be a quick walkthrough of the Culture of Inquiry and Evidence dashboards that you can use as a chair to analyze data for your program. Clicking on the link that was in the instructions brings you to this web page, the Culture of Inquiry and Evidence. Scrolling down, you will find the institutional dashboards. We're going to walk through the first two. The first one is the Student Attributes Dashboard. When you click that button, it will take you to the Student Attributes Dashboard. It will look like this. At the top is a control panel, then down below is a bar chart in the middle and raw data numbers on the right, and on the left you can see that you can look at data by different factors like ethnicity, gender, designation at the start of term, age group, and so on. An important thing to be aware anytime you go into a dashboard is the years that you are looking at. You can see mine has all the way from this current year, 2024 to 2025, back to 2006 to 2007. While it's good to see this much data, there is a purpose for ADR and looking specifically at the last 5 years. To change the years, you look at the bottom row of the control panel on the left is fiscal year. It's currently set to all. We click the down arrow on the right to drop the menu. We click the checkbox next to select all to deselect everything. And then for ADR, the review years we want to look at are 2019-2020 through 2023-2024. Those are the 5 years of the review that we're doing. Since we've checked those 5, we see that they now appear in the bar chart. By default, when you go into the dashboard for the first time, it's set to the entire college. So academic level at the top is all. It's showing all dual credit, all of the different demographic factors. We've changed the fiscal year in the second row of the control panel. All terms, all semesters, all divisions, all programs of study, all subjects and subject and course numbers in every section. So there is instances specifically for CTE programs where you will be asked to compare data in your program to data at the college as a whole. This is a great dashboard for doing that because it gives you quick snapshots in terms of head count to see what your student population looks like versus the colleges. You can also look specifically at your division by clicking the down arrow in the division part of the control panel, deselecting all, and then selecting your division. I'm going to choose EMPS because that's my division. And now we can see data for the last 5 years in EMPS. The important thing is that if you ever change one of the control panel features, like division in this case, it will change what's available in other features. So when I click on subject, subject, and course in the second row of the control panel off to the right, you can see that options to choose are only programs that are in EMPS. So if I wasn't in EMPS, say I was phlebotomy, I wouldn't see that in here because I have the division filtered to EMPS. So if you want to see more, you have to go back to that division and reset it. My program is ESC, so I'm going to click on that, and we can see data specific to ESC. The great thing about the Student Attributes Dashboard is once you set the control panel, you can use that menu on the left to go through the different demographic factors, and you don't have to reset the control panel. So right now we're still looking at ESC specific data in each of these because that's what's in the control panel. If I want to look at college level data, I would reset the subject, subject, and course to all, and then I would reset the divisions to all. And now I'm back looking at college level data. Another important note when you go into the dashboards is whatever you leave the control panel as, the next time you come into the dashboard, that's what it will be set at. So always check the control panel to make sure it's set up for what you want to look at. The second dashboard on the Institutional Effectiveness Planning and Research Culture of Inquiry and Evidence webpage is the Course Success Dashboard. When you click on that button, it will take you to the Course Success page. This one is going to be very useful for all programs because you're going to be looking at success data, not just how many students you have in different demographic factors. You're going to be looking at the actual success students are having by different demographic factors. When you click overall, the top button, it will take you to this page. The page is really good. Again, if you haven't used it yet, it'll be set to all for all college. Remember, each time you go in, you will have to change the years to look at specifically just for ADR. Otherwise, the graphs can get really busy. So I select 2019, 2020 through 2023, 2024, and we have college level data. This is for success rates rather than number of students enrolled. You can again look at your division. The middle row of the control panel on the left is currently set to all. I deselect and I do EMPS again because that's what my division is. And we can see that the graph has changed. And then subject, and course number, I can change from having all of them to my program ESC. And one thing you can even do further is there is a down caret on the left of the checkbox for ESC, and you can then go through and just select individual classes. So I click the ESC box to deselect everything, and let's say I want to look at ESC 121 Physical Geology. I can look at that class by itself. So a very powerful tool here. I'm going to select all again for subject and select all divisions. For CTE chairs, there's also an option in the middle of the control panel called Program of Study. When you click that, it has all of them selected. You deselect, and I'm going to go to Phlebotomy Technician as an example. And now I can see success across the Phlebotomy Technician program. You can also go to the tabs that are above the graph and switch from the chart to raw data numbers. Now, this isn't as visually appealing as if you use the next dashboard down or option in the dashboard in the main menu on the left, success by subject. Again, it's set to all for the whole college because I haven't used it yet. So I'm going to change the fiscal years to what we're looking at for ADR. And if you are a transfer program or adult ed, you'll probably just want to use the subject, and course number to deselect and then look at your individual program. So I'm going to select ESC as an example. You can see now we're just looking at ESC. And then again, the tabs right above the graph, by default it's on by subject. We click the second one, subject and course number, and now I have success rates and data I can easily look at for all of the classes in my program. And you can put your mouse over them to see how many students were enrolled for seats taken in those different classes. I'm going to reset the subject to all, because if you are a career program, a CTE program, I'm going to use PBT again as an example. Phlebotomy Technician. Because I didn't select the left tab, the graph stayed on the right. So if you want to see by just subject, again, you're in control. It's going to leave it where you were. You click the left tab by subject, you can see how PBT classes are doing, and then you could see PBT classes individually split out here. If you want to see all classes in your program, you're going to go and select deselect PBT by selecting all in the subject. For program of study, you then go in and select Phlebotomy Technician, which you could see last time because I didn't deselect PBT as a subject. It didn't have all of these options. Now I've lost where it is, so I got to go up real quick. There it is, Phlebotomy Technician. And now you could go by subject and see all the different subjects that students who have identified PBT 21MP, what they're taking outside your program as well. And if you click subject and course number, you can actually see it broken down. For instance, here in bio, they're taking a lot of different classes, which makes sense for PBT. You can get really deep into the data looking at it that way. The remainder of the options on the left side of the screen, from success by ethnicity down to success by residency, have a little bit different of a chart. So when I click on that, again, this is all college level data because I haven't started modifying the control panel. If you're coming back to it after having modified the control panel, remember that will be different. So I'm going to change the years, which is something you should get in the habit of doing when you go into them for the first time. So now I have our 5 years for this ADR cycle. And the first chart that's by default is seats taken. So here we can see numbers of people. This again is across the entire college. And then we can see success rates. Because we're in the ethnicity option, this is broken down by ethnicity. And what we can see that we're going to look for in data for our program, the college and elsewhere, is trends. And so when I look at these bar charts each year, what I'm seeing is that there's higher success for white and Asian students than there are for Hispanic, Black students year on year. That would be a trend that we would identify. If you want to look specifically at your program for a transfer program, you again go to subject, subject, and course number, deselect all, and then select your program. And again, you can go further by hitting the down caret, looking at individual classes, however deep you want to dive in the data. Remember, the chart stays where it was, so I've clicked seats taken to go back to that first chart to see across the ESC program how many students we have as a count of seats taken each year by the different demographic designations, and then looking at success rates year on year going through here. You also have withdrawal rates and GPA. This same way of looking at the data is in all of the options again on the left of the screen, from success by ethnicity to success by residency. Again, if you're looking at it as a career program, you want to have your subject, subject, and course number set to all, and then you want to go into the program of study, and I'm going to use phlebotomy again as the example. Click on it. Again, I'm in the seats taken one, so I didn't have to change it there. I can see the seats taken by the different demographic factors. I can see success rates by ethnicity in this case, withdrawal rates, and GPA, all by ethnicity. And again, if you go into gender, same thing. Change the fiscal years, play with the control panel these ways, and you can dive into the data all those different ways. I'm going to highlight one specifically, which is the bottom option of different charts. That's success by residency. So it's not the very last option on the left because you have other information to look at there. This is one of my absolute favorite aspects of the data because it's looking geographically, where do students reside, and then what kind of success are those students having by their residence. So I'm going to focus again on the fiscal years of ADR 2019-2020 through 2023-2024. It's not going to change anything in the map because right now it's just different colors in there, but you can see you can go into different cities by moving your mouse around to see how many head count are there, what was the success rate, what was the withdrawal rate. Again, the control panel allows you to look at specifically your subject. So I'm going to choose ESC because that's where I'm from. You can again use the down caret to look specifically at classes individually. And each time you change that control panel, when you put your mouse over the map, it will change the data to represent what you have it filtered to. Again, same thing for career programs. If you want to look at your program or certificate specifically, set the subject to all, deselect all programs, and then again I'll stick with phlebotomy. You click your specific certificate, and then again you move the mouse around and you can see what people are doing. I love this because I've long wondered, for my program, we have a very big footprint online, a large footprint at the Grays Lake campus, a smaller footprint at the South Lake campus, and we don't have any footprint at Lakeshore. And so for me, it's very interesting to see where are we offering classes versus where are our students living and coming from, because are we meeting the capacity needs in that quadrant of the district with what we're offering. So this is a great tool to use to look at that, to see the distribution of students and see if there's a demand or a need in a specific geographic location that's not being met by your program. This has been a quick introduction to the Culture of Inquiry and Evidence dashboards that are available at home, no VPN. Anytime you want to access, you can get in and take a look at.